Alright, let's just start the video. YouTube, what's going on? It's your boy Keezy. It ain't easy being Keezy, and today we're going to be talking about hats, but more specifically hats that are for people that have kind of like a smaller head or a smaller dome, and the perfect size fitting hats and or best brands to buy for people that have a smaller head. Now, I know that sounds kind of funny. Some people out there can fit almost any hat and make it look good, no different than something like sunglasses. But there's a large majority of us people out there that have smaller heads that can't wear all hats. In today's video, we're going to teach you on the brands and also the fittings that will help you determine which one is the best. So, without further ado, let's get it. Okay, so before we talk about which brands are the best, let's go ahead and talk about fitting and sizing. Now, if you don't know what size that you are in, I guess you can say quote-unquote fitted hats, I would hit up a New Era store or whatever sports store that you have and just go try on whatever regular baseball hats they have. I'm gonna put a chart that's right here, and on this chart it's gonna show the fractions and it will also show centimeters. Centimeters is for anybody that is outside of the US, but if you live in the US, everybody uses the fractions. And what I'm considering to be like a smaller size head is about 7.5 all the way down to 6 7/8. That's pretty small. I myself am a true size, I think 7 or 7 1/8, which is almost unheard of. But again, for this video, for the sake of this video, we're doing 7.5 and down. So if you're anything above that, I'd probably skip this video. Now, the first thing I'm gonna start with is the actual bill. You're gonna wanna try to find hats that have square bills and not round bills. For round bills, if you have a smaller head size, it doesn't really work for your face shape, and square bills are more in your favor. Now, if I put this A's cap on, now it's hard to tell because this lens is a little bit distorted, but if you look at this hat, it's too big for my head. Even though this is a 7 1/8, you can see that there's some space right here, and there's some space right here. So this bill ends a little too far on my head. Ideally, I would want the bill to end maybe here, so that it can take the shape of my face a little better. And now this also brings us to another topic, and that topic would be the face of the hat, right? You want to try to find a hat that has a lower profile. Now, typically for New Era hats, they're usually a boxy fit. If you look at this hat from side to side, it kind of looks like a rectangle, right? It's shaped where it kind of goes up here, it's kind of rounded, but it's squared off, and then it's free-formed in the back. If you don't have a head that has any depth in the back of your head, then these type of hats are not gonna work for you. And in fact, they're just gonna look kind of goofy, kind of like what it looks like on me. If I put this hat on, the front just looks way bigger than the back. It's not an evenly balanced hat to wear. So one other quick example of a hat that has a really big front and is meant for people that have bigger heads is a hat like this. And this is a perfect example of a hat that I can wear backwards, but I can't really wear it forwards. Now let me show you why. Now notice, even though it is a square bill, like the hat doesn't really work for me because the front is just is massive, right? Now I'm gonna try to zoom in a little bit. Notice that the front part, it just protrudes, but the back just kind of deflates. And it's like, it just doesn't, to me, it doesn't look right, and it just, I don't know. I can't walk out of the house like this. I really can't. I feel like I'm living back in 2004 right now. But on a good note, I can actually wear this hat backwards. Why? Since the back of this hat kind of deflates a little bit, but the front of the hat, if I wear it backwards, kind of protrudes, it does make my head shape kind of seem as if I have a, I guess you could say, a bulged skull on the back of my head. I don't know how else to explain that any other better way. That's exactly what it is. Okay, now moving on to what I would recommend. Now, my first recommendation is not the easiest to find, and I found these on eBay. These are New Era, and what you're supposed to look up on Google if you type it in is just type in Youth MLB New Era hats. Another keyword that you can type in for this hat is type in minor league. Type in New Era minor league baseball hats, and you will pretty much get a different type of New Era hat. You're probably saying to yourself, like, that is the same exact thing as this. Now, I know on camera it can look the same exact way, but just to give a very quick comparison, minor league baseball hat compared to the MLB, the regular baseball hats, team hats, is that the profile of the hat is shorter. And also, two front panels are also not as long. Take a ruler and I measure this first panel here.
Kind of a ghetto way of measuring it. I'll go all the way here.
That measures out to 4.5 per panel. Now if I take this minor league baseball hat
and I go all the way around, that's gonna be
3 3/4 inches for the panel itself. So each panel around the hat is actually smaller to fit, obviously, either minor league or youth heads. And then also they give you a square bill, comparing that to the regular MLB hats, which are a round bill, which I've already explained. Round bills for people that have smaller heads, it just doesn't work very well. And now let's just say, for example, you don't want to buy an MLB hat. Another option that you can do if you have a smaller head is that you can buy dad hats. But I would try your best to find dad hats that have square brims. This bill is actually a round bill. It works at times, and then at times it doesn't really work. Again, like I mentioned, your bill can't be that wide, right? If we were to measure this really quick. So this bill is actually 7.5 inches. The hat that I have on right now, which is only 7. That 1/2 inch does wonders the way that it looks on your head. It is completely different. Okay, now I know you're probably saying to yourself, well, all dad hats should be good. Now, the one that I have on is not good for my head shape, and the reason why I say that is that if I zoom in a little bit here, and if you look from the side, do you notice like how it stays pointed on top, and I kind of look like a cone head. That I don't know how else to put it. Don't get me wrong, I like the hat, but I can't wear the hat because now it's too pointed on top. Maybe I'm just too picky. I don't know. Okay, so the last hat that I am going to recommend are these hats right here. Now, I'm not telling you to go out there and buy this brand because in fact, it's very, very hard to find this brand. But I bring up this hat because the bill is small enough on my face and it probably ends somewhere around this area. It protrudes out and it's a little bit square. It's a square brim and it's kind of small. The shape of the actual hat is kind of round. It doesn't point too high on the top and it's not stiff where it does something like this, but it'll take the shape of your head and kind of wrap around your head very nicely. More so a free-form hat, which works perfect for someone that maybe has a size 7 1/8, size 7, 7 1/4, 7 3/8, you get my point. But other recommendations on what to type into Google when trying to find a hat like this if you have a smaller head, maybe type in like biker hat or cyclist hat, because this kind of material and this type of fit is more for a cyclist, because cyclists wear hats that are very fitting to your actual head no matter what the shape is. Or stuff like Nike, stuff like Adidas, very common brand names will do it. Maybe something like New Balance. You can type it in on Google and find it that way, or maybe even just go to your local TJ Maxx, Ross, Target, Walmart. They might even have freeform hats that kind of look like this with a smaller bill. It's not going to be easy to find. I'm going to tell you that right now, and the only reason I know that is because I myself, of course, I've had this shaped head all my life, and it's been very, very difficult for me to go out there and find hats that freeform to my particular shaped head, and I can't wear all hats. That's just the fact of the matter. Okay, and to close this video off, I do want to thank you for stopping by the channel, and I also hope that this was helpful. If you do have questions on where to go about finding a good hat that might fit your head properly, where to find hats that have square bills, go ahead and comment down below and ask me in the comments. I'm more than happy to help you guys because I've been on the quest looking for hats forever. Anyways, with that being said, thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure you guys keep it locked right here for all your latest information from music, fashion to culture. It is your boy, and I'll see you next time.